Well, hey everybody, we're back for another playlist. This time with Jose, Dave, and I. This time it's basically was a free for all. Everybody, it was like in the old days where we would just start. We didn't really have a topic. We'd start with something and build off that. And I think it turned out pretty good. We haven't actually named it yet, I don't think, but by the time this comes out, we'll slap a name on it. So yeah, I guess let's just get right into it. It was my list, and uh, so I picked the theme or non-theme, and so I started out with a song by Paul McCartney called "Fine Line." Um, it was off of probably the last of his records that I really liked the whole way through. It was kind of he had a little bit of resurgence there, and his voice is still kind of hanging in there. It was the early 2000s, but song has lines like fine line between chaos and creation, which I thought, it might portend what's coming on the playlist. So we can discuss that. I don't know, but I just thought it was a good starting off point. No other significance to it beyond that. We can talk. We're not just talking about it all in order, but what did you guys think of that song to start off with?
Well, you want me to go? Well, first, an overview. I thought, yeah, we searched it freeform and we were going to do this, initially I was like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. But it's funny that it became thematic for a while there. I mean, like the first 6 or 7 songs are kind of all go to mesh together. Then like the next 3 songs all go together. In the end, kind of just go. But it's funny that we have love and angst and all this other stuff at the beginning. Then we just have death at the end of it. But it's like I was saying before we started, it is a great listen. It is a fun, great listen to how this was put together. And I think it's not to pat ourselves on the back, it's a tribute to how we put these things together sometimes and how everything seems to fall into place. And the songs just work so well together. And each song, I I didn't not like. Every song was really good, well placed, and I thought that it just gelled well. And like you said, the first song kind of set the tone. We are like that, we are right a fine line sometimes. We do have those moments where we talk about, oh, is this song going to work? Is this song not going to work? There's a fine line there, and I thought that was a good theme to start out, and then it just shot from there. What did you think, Dave?
I think the cool thing about us doing these playlists is that we never know what's going to happen. It is really, yeah, we do a little bit of planning. Sometimes if we pick a theme, we might go, oh, I like these songs, let's put some of these songs on. Sometimes when we do the free form, it's some of our best work, and we don't really know how it's going to go. Like I said, I don't think any of us went, okay, he's playing this song, so I'm going to play this song, so you're going to play this song. It just was at that moment, oh, I got a song that would go good after that. And then you put it on, and of course, and again, it does. It flows real well into the next song. The next song flows into the next one. And I think part of that symbiotic kind of relationship that we have going on is because we all know what we like and what we don't like, and we like a lot of similar. We like more similar songs than we don't. I mean, most of our musical tastes are similar, even though we have a wide variety of what we like. It is similar, so we kind of play off that, and I think sometimes it's important to start the playlist off right. So I got to say that Mike's Paul McCartney, the Fine Line, it just set a good tone for it. It's a great song. I'd never heard it before. I think Flowers in the Dirt was kind of the last Paul McCartney that I kind of listened to, and I liked that style in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s that he did. So I really liked the song, and then it just kind of snowballed from there, so to speak. I don't know why I picked the A Team and the Ed Sheeran song next. We haven't listened to any Ed Sheeran on any of our playlists, but and I don't know that many Ed Sheeran songs, but for some reason I knew this song from way back. It was one of his earliest songs, and it always hit me with the message of it, and girl trapped by heroin addiction, and having to sleep with men and flying in the pipe to the motherland, and but yet it's too cold for angels to fly, and she can't go outside because of that. And it's just the lyrics, the song, and everything was great. And then again, Jose followed up with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. She's only 18, and it kind of, because it mentioned a young girl being 18, so it just started flowing. But yeah, I liked the beginning a lot.
Yeah, let me just say, yeah, we started this, I had actually made up a playlist of songs. These are the songs I'm going to put and make these guys listen to. And it just so happens when you play that Ed Sheeran song, that one just flowed right there. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot pass this up. And so I thought, wow, that really works well together. And they kind of go well together as two songs discussing a young girl's, plight or a living their way. So yeah, I found that, pretty fascinating that just fell right into place.
Yeah, I agree too. I had never heard the Ed Sheeran song. I had heard one they've been playing on the radio quite a while, and I'm like, I don't know. It never really got me. But this is great and terribly depressing. but that's kind of why it's like a picture of what somebody's going through. And it's really good. I was listening to this playlist in the car with my wife the other day, and that really got her attention. And I'm like, well, good, yeah, it's a good song. A couple songs we get to later, she knew already. So this is closer to something we can both listen to, which we don't have that crossover so much. But yeah, and it's only 18. I didn't know that one. I know the record it's off of, but I don't have it, whatever, the recording of it. And so that was great. The guitar solo was awesome.
John Frusciante. Why don't we have guitar gods like we used to?
Yeah.
John Frusciante is the guitarist for Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he is a guitar god. If you ever listen to him, I had a little phase there, and I even had solo albums by him. But we don't prop up guitarists like we used to. We don't prop them up like Hendrix. But Frusciante is one of those kind of guys that really is there. Just a side thing. Why don't we? It's just not the same as it used to be.
I don't know. Is it we don't the younger folks don't have the attention span? No offense. No offense if nobody's listening that would be offended by that. But yeah, so then we went on to we kept this kind of girl thing going for 6 songs. And it really worked great. It wasn't all, that same exact theme. I did the next one, which is this very old Pink song called, with a very long name, Nothing in This World Can Stop Me Thinking or Worrying About That Girl. And it was kind of before they really, had any much airplay at all. And it's just kind of a little deep cut, but I've always liked it. And I like on that song how it's just basically him and a little bit of guitar, and then the drums start coming in, and by the end of the song, it's the whole band. Let's see, Hey There, Delilah. That's another one my wife knew as well. She's like, oh, that was a big song. I'm like, well, I'm learning stuff.
Yeah, never
And so
heard that one.
it was sweet, the long distance romance in college. I don't know how often those work out, but I don't know if was this based on an actual experience in his life, the singer songwriter or whoever?
Yeah, I don't really know much about the song behind it or what happened. I just know it was a cool song. I liked it, and it was a big hit for them. It kind of put them on the map a little bit, but I don't know the story behind it.
Well, where did you hear it initially? What made you go to that song?
So let me explain. So my oldest son is like just about, he just turned or he's about to turn 35.
Oh wow.
Okay, so if you go back to whatever time period that is, like the 2000s, 2010s, when he was in high school and that kind of thing, there was a period of time where he was listening to a lot of this kind of music. And at first I was like, whatever. And then I started putting them on my, downloading them and buying them, putting them on my things, or he had them and gave them to, had a CD of them, and I ripped them and put them on my computer or whatever. And there's a lot of these that are in that time frame where for some reason I have them on my playlists, and it's only like 2 songs by this artist and 1 or 2 songs by this artist. But I said I'm going to start playing some of these songs because they've been on my playlist for a long time, and but I never really bought that album or really knew a whole lot about these groups. But it's things like the All American Rejects and Green Day and Fall Out Boy and the bands and groups that he listened to a lot. I got a bunch of them on my playlist, but it's only a couple of songs here and a couple of songs there. So that's
Well,
kind of
that's
how it
good.
happened.
I'm glad you played them because those are really good. And the King song, that's something, Dave, that I don't know if this is the San Antonio doubt, but we didn't Kinks and we're not really part of our world, really. You know, we didn't
No.
really listen to it, but Mike seems to have had this, you know, pipeline, so to speak, of listening to the Kinks. But for us, that now maybe because the San Antonio radio never played them and we weren't into them and they weren't on the level as, let's say, obviously the Beatles or the Who or let's, you know, all those groups from the 60s, but we were never, I don't think we were exposed to it. And that song was really good.
If it wasn't like one of the top 2 or 3 hits, I didn't know anything about it.
Right.
And I
Which is
still
weird.
don't. I mean, if it wasn't "Come Dancing" or or a couple of their top hits, I wouldn't have known it. So I actually appreciated this song, and I think I was googling a little bit to see about the Kinks, and obviously Ray Davies is phenomenal. But I've never really thought about any of his slow songs or slower songs or whatever. And they said that he has like 5 or 6 that are just really gems. If you go back and look at those deep cuts and look for some of those tracks. So thanks, Mike, for putting that on because I'm going to start looking at listening to some other Kinks as well. And
Yeah. What was your relationship, Mike? I mean, how were you exposed to the Kinks?
Well, I bought, there was this record, Give the People What They Want, and it had 1 or 2 songs that got some airplay. I bought it just like on a whim. I'd heard Lola and All Day and All the Night or whatever.
Right.
So then not too long after that, they came through on tour. It was back in the days when you could actually camp out and get front row tickets. I know that sounds like an amazing thing, but you could actually do it at one point. And so I got front row tickets and they were just phenomenal. It was amazing. The whole band, but the 2 brothers, Ray and Dave, especially, you know, being right up there. And then after the show, it was another one of those where I'm stalking the band. And so they were staying at the, was it the Hyatt or no, it was the Anatole, whatever that thing was in South Austin,
Oh yeah.
South Dallas. And it was really, you know, really nice. And so I get there before the limo and he pulls up and like walks right by me like, "Hey, Ray." And he turns around like totally ready to engage. And I do the same thing I always did. It's like, I just shut down. It's like, I cannot think of words. And I'm like, "Thank you. Great show. We love your music." And it's like, I could have asked, I don't know, I could have talked to him. But he was really cool about it. And actually,
Good.
I don't want to go too long about this,
Oh, go
but
ahead.
it wasn't very long. You know, it was a year or 2 after John Lennon had been killed. And I know these guys had to be, you know, musicians after that, had to be super aware of somebody behind them suddenly saying their name. It didn't even occur to me. But like after I was thinking, man, because he looked a little startled when he turned around.
Wow.
And but he got over it, he smiled, you know, and went on. So that's kind of how I got into him. And then I started going backwards in their catalog. So
Yeah, well, cool. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that song. I'd never heard that song. I'd never heard the "Hey There, Delilah." So I thought, man, 2 gems. You know, 2 really great songs. Like I said, just fit right in with. After we get the 2 other ones, then we get these 2. So yeah.
I like the lyrics too, where I mean,
Oh,
it kind of flowed with the 18, and she's only 18, kind of the mistakes, and then he says, she's sleeping around, she's sleeping with other fellas, and but he still cares about her, even though she's messing around and cheating on him. Um, I thought that was pretty cool.
oh yeah. So yeah.
and
Then
then
I
Jose, you followed with Santana, Maria Maria, which was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I
What,
thought
what,
it felt right into that realm there. And I like the song because it's kind of like he's sampling himself, which is weird in a way that Carlos said. But the song, I thought the lyrics and the songs kind of went with the other songs.
Mhm. I like the references to West Side Story. I'm a fan of that but yeah, the music, but yeah.
All Puerto Ricans love West Side Story. It kind of put them on the map. It sounds strange, but in the 50s, West Side Story, and then all of a sudden we're talking about Puerto Ricans and Rita Moreno. I mean, she was
What's more Puerto Rican than Natalie Wood?
Right, but that was the worst part of that movie. That is the worst part. There's a reason why Rita Moreno won the Oscar. Or she won the Emmy or the Tony on Broadway as well. Because yeah, Natalie Wood. Okay, you're not really a Maria, but And of course, I don't think I even saw the remake by Spielberg yet. Just didn't capture my attention. But yeah,
I was going to watch it, and then I whatever something happened, and I didn't end up seeing the remake. But maybe I'll get around to it eventually.
Yeah.
I like the music from West Side Story as well.
Oh yeah.
I was surprised that I just saw Maestro a few weeks ago, and I was surprised they didn't spend more time on that. I don't know if they even played music from it in the thing, but they didn't spend very much time on that, which I thought was I mean, yeah, he was a great conductor and he composed some great things, but I thought that was really for me, that was a highlight of his career. Looking back, obviously I was very small when he was doing this thing, but yeah, anyway.
And you mentioned great guitarist. I mean, there's not many much better than Carlos Santana. I mean, he's great. I would have loved to see him in concert, but unfortunately never did.
Oh yeah, I saw him a couple of times, and he's everything that you expect him to be and more. And like I said, here's another guitar god that we prop up, but back in the day, but nowadays we just don't do that. It's strange. Like Mike said, it's a different time. Music, the way we listen to music, the way they promote, individuals is different than, it's more we promote individual pop stars than we promote the bands, So yeah.
When I was listening to that song, I was thinking, why does he have to introduce Carlos Santana before each time he starts playing? Anybody who would listen to that would know immediately it's Santana. And they're well, yeah, over a certain age, the younger folks. Okay, yeah.
And that came out in Supernatural, which was one of his later ones, right, in the 2000s. So yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of people, because that one riff is from another song. The electric guitar riff is from another song. That's why I say he's kind of sampling himself. And so that's why you hear that sound, you're like, that's a Carlos Santana song. And it is, but from a different song. That's why I say it's weird how I'm sure he's been sampled 1,000 times and his music's been sampled a lot. But for him to sample himself really worked well, I thought.
It was good, and we could have easily gone in another direction just because of that. You got that whole Latin thing and the whole, kind of thing. And I wasn't next. It was Mike, but I was thinking, okay, what can I play after that? And I was thinking I don't know if you remember it, but like Chuck Mangione had like this song called Children of Sanchez. And I'm like, I always want to play that after a Santana song or something, Well, that came and went. Mike went a different direction, which was great. He went with the Bonnie Raitt Down to You, and then that started a whole nother set of cool songs in a row. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Well, I like Bonnie Raitt. She's amazing, slide guitarist and child of a famous musician. And this song, I like the sentiment. It's like, and I thought, I was thinking back on some of the earlier songs on this list. It's like these people are in this situation on some of these songs, and obviously, if you're addicted to heroin, it's not something you can easily walk away from. But I thought it is a good message all the same. To it's like it's up to you. You can the line. One of the first lines is like you step out on the tracks in the pouring rain, and when you get run over, you blame the train. It's like you got to do it. Somebody's not going to do it for you. So yeah, that's kind of where I was going, and I was thinking, see where we go from there.
Well, we went to straight for someone doing like killing people. So
yeah, there was kind of a transition zone there.
You really can't talk to someone with a shotgun in there. Talk about your song, Dave.
But no, but it wasn't so much that the theme on that. I think it was the style of the music for Down to You, and it had that cool vibe and that beat to it. And so I wasn't thinking, let's pull out the shotgun and start gunning down the congregation or anything like that. I wasn't thinking. All I was thinking is, hey, there's this cool song that has like some keyboards in it with Carole King, and maybe this will go good after this. Now, let me just say one thing, and I don't know how you all do it, and we don't talk enough about this, but sometimes if you listen to the playlist, and I did several times, Apple has a way of, it'll fade out that last song just a second or two, and fade in the new song just a couple of seconds or two. And I'm telling you, the transitions on this playlist were phenomenal. There, and the one of the best ones was from Down to You to Smackwater Jack. You can't even tell, it's seamless. It's like, oh, is that still the same song? No, it's Carole King playing a different kind of riff on it. It was like it was almost in the same key that it happened. And that happened on 2 or 3 of the songs, where it was like, oh my gosh, that, like we were like professional DJs blending the songs from one to the next. And that was one of the ones I thought. Again, I didn't really look too heavily into the lyrics of it, but yeah, I mean, I thought it flowed good. And then Coming Home after that, it was a similar type of thing with the Southern rock and the guitar and everything, and all 3 of them just flowed perfectly together.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, when you Smackwater Jack was good at an initial, I listened to the music, but then I started listening to the lyrics, and then it becomes a whole different thing when you listen to the lyrics. Like, oh, now they're chasing him. Now the big chief is gonna close the borders and go after him. I was like, oh man, this is really a great song. This is great lyrics. It's a fun song. I mean, granted, they're tracking down a killer, but it's a fun song. And I think I'll just say this. I think my only misstep is I should have gone with Tedeschi Trucks there. I had him on my list, and I thought, I should have, but I did go with Coming Home. It's a great song. It's Delaney and Bonnie. Eric Clapton helped write that song, by the way. And Delaney and Bonnie Coming Home is one of those groups that 2 albums, but man, they could have been so much bigger. George Harrison was a part of them. They've had so many people a part of that group. They were a traveling troupe, and it's amazing that they didn't really break bigger than they were. But it's just good old fashioned rock and roll to me.
Yeah, I like that song too, and you can definitely hear the Clapton. Did he play on that
I think he did.
or sing? I
Yeah.
thought I could hear him sing like backup, but yeah, I like that one. And the fading. Let's see. So Smackwater Jack, I was familiar with that one, and it is an interesting little tale. And nobody really comes off looking good in that story. Not except maybe the poor congregation, and they don't really get to do anything except get shot. But the Smackwater Jack, the sheriff, and even the people and the Undertaker, like everybody's like, the town's glad that they lynched him, and so yeah. Anyway, the fading thing, I think that's a setting on Apple Music, because mine doesn't do that, and I think you can choose whether it does or doesn't. So and I probably just at some points like, I want to hear the whole song. So now I'm gonna have to check it out, because I want to hear what you're talking about, those transitions.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
the
definitely.
18 to She's Only 18 is another great transition.
Right.
It goes right into that, and then it goes boom, 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 and then you're just like, oh, what's going on here? So yeah, I agree with Dave that there are certain aspects of them, and then of course he's Coming Home, and then the Steely Dan. Mike, you put that on. Talk about that. There's another good transition from Coming Home to that.
Yeah, I was kind of following up. I know you had a song in there, but I was like, I guess I decided to keep it going with the Murder and Mayhem from Smackwater Jack. Have a nice little Coming Home, and then back to it. It only gets darker from there. But yeah, that's it. I've loved that song for years. I mean, all their stuff at this point I've heard so many times, but it's "Don't Take Me Alive" by Steely Dan off of Royal Scam, I believe. And one of the guitarists, I should remember it. He's played on Kid Charlemagne and a number of their things. He's just a great. It's like he solos through the song in a lot of places. And yeah, this guy's not going to end well on this song. But yeah, there's not much more I can say about it. I just I thought, well, we're shooting down the congregation. Now I'm gonna do this song. So
Are bookkeepers violent?
Or what? Well,
I think it was.
you
a-
can steal
it was
their
a
money,
good-
I guess.
I thought it was a great rescue, not rescue, but the guitars at the end of Coming Home and then starting in on the Steely Dan was again, it was another great one. And I find myself loving Steely Dan more and more. And I owned a few albums and I listened to them a little bit, but you seem to keep surprising me with songs that I didn't remember. And I don't know if it's just Steely Dan. I know they have, you know, like the couple of hits that they have, Ricky Don't Lose This Number, and those different ones where I kind of know those titles. But something about Steely Dan where sometimes you don't know the title of the song. Like you know the song, but you don't know the title of it. Like he says it in some, and you think you had one on like Here at the Western World or the same kind of thing. You know the chorus, but you don't know what the name of the song is. Bad Sneakers is another one that's kind of like that. Where like, oh, it's not really the chorus. It's just bad sneakers, and you know, it does that. And this is another one. I don't want to gush for a couple minutes. Hopefully, I don't talk too long. But this is my favorite song on the playlist again. Like I loved it so much that I just kept listening to it and singing it over and over and over again. So now I have at least, you know, at least the main chorus down pat. I won't sing it for you right here, but
I was hoping.
I'm a bookkeeper's son. I don't want to shoot no one.
Hey, watch out, copyright, we might
my
get in
old
trouble.
man back in Oregon, don't take me alive. Got a case of dynamite. Yeah, okay, we'll keep on going. I mean, I love it. I just love it so much. I mean, yeah, it's a great tune. Fagan and Becker, you can't go wrong with them. But thanks for putting that on, Mike, because again, it was my favorite track on the whole playlist.
Well, you kept the murder up there, Dave, with Feel Like Bullet in the Gun, which you introduced that song to me. Like I think when we were making this, you had actually put that on a tape 40 years ago. And I remember that song distinctly. I just thought, man, that is one of the most beautiful. It's a beautiful song, and it's about killing Jesse James. And so, but always just a great song. I always love that song. So I was glad that you put it on again. So then you get to listen to it over, you know, get to listen to it again and realize how beautiful that song really is.
Yeah, well, I echo everything he just said. Elton John, you know, I've known a lot of his music. I didn't know this. I say I didn't know this song. I'd forgotten about it because I did. And sometimes I'll be listening through just like I'll have like a playlist of most of his stuff or all of his songs just on it. And I'll kind of skip through and I'll hear the beginning of the song. I'm like, I don't know. But this one, it's like, I think that's what I did. But you get in just a little bit, and you mentioned this, these really great chord changes. Like on the chorus, especially to me, it's like it kind of goes like to a different key or something. I don't know enough about music to be correct on that, but it was great. I like that as much as anything else on the song.
Oh yeah. And then of course we just go hardcore the rest of the way. And I'll say this, at the onset of listening to these tapes, I enjoyed the beginning more, but then as I listened to them more and more, I engaged more with the latter songs than the first 6 songs. I was like, you know, Killing in the Name Of, that's mine. Obviously, that's a hardcore song. It's in reference to the Rodney King thing and Rage Against the Machine and expressing their views. Obviously, they're obviously a very political band and that. And then, of course, No Thugs in This House. Man, I just started loving that song more and more. And then Dave's Catch-22. Oh my God. I just thought, what a great song. And initially, when I listened, I was like, ah. And then as I listened to those 2 songs together, those started becoming my favorites.
Well, that's another shout out to my son. That was one of his songs that he turned me on 2 years ago. And you know,
What goes around comes around. We
Yeah.
should mention it.
yeah, what goes around comes around by Catch-22. And I almost put that on our horns one, but I ended up going with a different song when we did the horns playlist. But hey, we're going to talk about Killing in the Name, right? I mean, at some point,
Well, you white people can talk about it.
we
Feel
got to
free.
talk about it. Now, I'm not big on the explicit and and some of the language on it, but I have to tell you, I like the energy. I like I liked the song, and I played it more. The more I listened to it, the more I liked it. I like when it got wiggy at the end with the whip, 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 all that kind of
Right.
stuff. And again, I can do without the swearing and all that, but I like the I like the part of he did that a couple of times, right? Oh,
Well, there's another guitar guy, Tom Morello, a Harvard grad, and he invented a whole new way to play the guitar. You know, a whole new way, a whole new distinct style to play the guitar. Again, we don't champion this, put him on a pedestal. Tom Morello is one of the best guitarists you'll hear out there, and he influenced the next generation of individuals.
and Guitar Hero.
And guitar hero for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I had heard of. We've had another song by them. I forget which one. A few playlists back, and both of them. I think the last one was covered. Was this a cover too?
This is not a cover. That's an original. This was, yeah. The other one was Renegades of Funk. But yeah.
That's right. That's right. And I really need to start giving them a chance. I was more. I'd read about them, and like, well, they have some interesting political ideas, and I may not completely agree, but there's, they're talking about what they believe in, and getting out there and fighting for it musically. And but this song, yeah, I mean, the whole Rodney King thing, that was a terrible thing that happened, and it led to much more violence, because of this thing with the police and such. And I'm glad you put it on there. It's still it's still growing on me, but it's not that there's anything wrong with the song. It's just I have my little.
There's no filter, that's for sure.
But 16 times.
15
times in a
row. Are you counting the MF at the end?
Do they do that? And the first 8, he starts out a little like soft, and I'm like, if he just stays right there, it's probably good. But then he gets into the, at the end, obviously, and so it's kind of in your face. But I put up with it, and like I said, I liked it.
Well, talk about the XTC. You're a huge XTC. You always have been, Mike. I mean, I know you love those guys, and that song is really good. About they want my interpretation, they want the kid lives there. They want this kid who's doing stuff bad, and they don't want him in the house. Or is it people that they don't want in the house, or the individuals?
I think it's Graham. It's little Graham.
Yeah, it's like it's this English family with the naive parents. We all want to think our little Graham, little whoever, can't do any wrong. Even when it's right in front. He's clearly a skinhead or something. And it's like there's the lines in there, but they never notice that tattoo on his arm or the pamphlets in his bottom drawer. They thought it was just a boys club badge that he wore. You kind of wonder what was on that badge, SS or who knows. But yeah, so I've liked that one for years. They're no longer together. They broke up several years ago. But they went from they're more new wavy, not really punk, but they have kind of some songs that have kind of a more edge to it like this. And then they went on later, and it's much more melodic. You can hear influences by from the Beatles and by Brian Wilson and things like that. So this kind of right in the middle, but I think it's off of we'll look it up. Whatever album it's off of is a really good one. So yeah, I had initially put this on. Well, it's the Thug thing. It's not a neat fit with the other song, but there's thuggery and violence going on, and so, I
actually thought it went well with Killing in the Name of and What Goes Around. I thought that stuck right in there, that it really flowed well with that. Sure, it's a different topic, but it's kind of a, hey, it's a different it's a different mindset. It's a different way of looking at things, violence especially. And I thought that song fit right in there with the other two.
I thought it was perfect too, because Rage Against the Machine was so hard and fast, and then what goes around comes around was fast too. And this was the happy middle in the medium where no thugs in you know, and you when you and at first I thought the same thing. Oh, it's gonna be like about thugs and all that kind of stuff. And then you listen to the lyrics, and I listened to it a few times. Like, I've had that speech. I gave that same speech to my kids. Hey, we're not going to have any of that kind of stuff in our house. I didn't say no thugs, but I said, we're not going to be losers. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. You promised me you'd be good, right? He promised little Graham. He's sleeping over there. Everything's fine. And he's dreaming about doing bad stuff. We don't even know that. But I thought the lyrics were great. The song was awesome. What do you say at that one point where the cop catches him or whatever? It says, "Oh, this is your son's wallet. He must have dropped it after too much beer." Yeah, it's
But I was saying the policeman, when he says that, he's at the house discussing a situation where some Asians got beat up, and so then you're really thinking skinhead there. But yeah, I'd like to, and I don't want to not comment on the Catch-22. This is the second song you put on by them too, and I really like it. It's like ska / punk. I don't know what you call that, but it's great. It's so much fun, I love the beat and the speed to it, and I like this better than the first one. Not for any particular reason. This is kind of did it for me. But yeah, keep more of that coming, please.
Well, let me say one thing. So it's so fast, and if I don't think I ever, because of Apple Music now, I put it on now, I can see the lyrics, right? Well, before that, I never had that. I just had the song, never looked up the lyrics. So trying to catch what he's saying, like, we're gonna go to Tijuana in a Topaz, then we end up California, and it's all this kind of stuff. And I know it's very clear to me now, but the first time I heard this, and even up until just now when I played it, I thought he was saying, your father is also your pimp. And instead he says, your father is also your pain. But for some reason I thought he was saying pimp, because it was going in with the whole, whatever, that theme. So I misinterpreted it, because he goes, I'm going to shoot him down. And for this, I'll find him, I'll shoot him down, and we can be together or whatever. But I thought it was because he was saying that, but he just said, when I finally looked at the lyrics, your father is also your pain. And for this, I'll shoot him down.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I don't know why. But if you listen to it, now that I know it, you know it. But when you don't know it, you mishear lyrics all the time. We talked about maybe making a playlist of misheard lyrics all the time, but this was one where it was singing so fast that I didn't know what he was saying.
I think we did have your son on. He's been giving us some good music.
There you go.
Right. I never heard of this Catch-22, and all of a sudden it's just, man, like you said, the way this ends up was really good. Well, so no, I enjoyed it a lot. Like Mike said, keep that stuff coming. I think all the songs, of course, I ended up with Jingle of the Dog's Collar by Butthole Surfers, which I could easily have put a song on that was similar to the last three, but I thought, well, first of all, I knew it was going to come in under an hour because it was only 3-minute song. Because let's face it, Butthole Surfers are not known for their nice lyrics and their easy rocking. And now this was Electric Larryland off that album, which was kind of like their one album that made it big. And I guess their big song off that was Pepper, and it was played on MTV, and it just became a hit. And so, which was strange to me because I had listened to the Butthole Surfers beforehand and just thought they were fantastic, all their other albums before that. And I'd seen them a couple of times in concert, and let's face it, it's a wild concert. You ever go see a Butthole Surfers? And I will just say this, and I hate to incriminate myself, but don't do it on psychedelics. And that was my mistake because that was a whole different experience. I mean, he sets himself on fire. They're showing movie clips, and believe me, it was a mind-blowing experience, but it was maybe too mind-blowing, especially with their music. But I thought this song would just kind of, let's just all level it back in, bring it back, and I think it's just a fun little.
What's it about? What's the song about?
Yeah, same question.
I think it's a little bit about a little S&M, a little bondage, jingle of dog's collar, right? I mean, I think it's a little of that. I think he throws in a little of that. I think he's kind of making a play on words of that. They weren't really known for writing lyrics about being nice or anything like that. So I think it has a little of that to do with it.
I think
But
I think I heard something like it was about heroin addiction or something, but I didn't
ah,
get that from the actual lyrics, you know.
good because Gibby was known to mainline quite a bit. Those guys were pretty into drugs and stuff like that. So yeah, you're probably onto something where he used to mainline quite a bit, and he had his issues for sure. I mean, like I said, this album is so strange from all their other albums, just so different that and believe me, when I play more, because I will play more, because I think they're a great group. Uh, those songs go, unless I play something off Electric Larryland, which is just such a distinct album from the other ones that they've had before. And they had been around for 10 years before this album came out. And, but everyone only knew them because of their name. I remember even, what was it? The Simpsons had an episode where Todd and Rod, they lose their house, and Flanders loses his house or something like that, and they have to get clothes, and the little boy puts on the butthole surfer. She goes, "Look, Dad, I'm surfing." He says butthole surfer. So anyway, that's kind of, they were obviously known more for their name because it was always shocking when you tell someone, oh my God, butthole surfer, what, you can't say that, and so, and of course when you listen to their music before this album, where it was just like, oh yeah, this is definitely different. So
It's strange when I was listening, maybe nobody else heard this, or if you listen to it would hear this, but especially early on in the song, his voice reminded me a lot of Frank Zappa. And I don't know what I'd have to play it and tell you which part, but I also figured the jingle of the dog's collar probably had something to do with S&M, but
no,
beyond that,
no, I agree with you. That he has a little Zappa-esque lyrics in there. I was feeling, that
oh, well,
I could hear that
right.
same
I was
style, yeah.
feeling, he has that part right there where it really,
the, but even like the tone of his voice, if
Yeah.
I just had heard that, I go, wait, is this some Zappa song? I didn't know about, but man, whatever. Anyway. Yeah,
well,
I'd heard of them before, and I never really at work when I worked in a restaurant where I turned on a lot of the music that I went on to like later. That was a lot different from what we used to listen to back when we were making tapes. That was one of the bands somebody at work played a lot, and he told, I don't know if this is true or not. He told the story that Gibby when his he didn't want to tell they didn't want to tell his grandmom the name of the band, and she like asked or something, and he called them the not Buffalo Soldiers, Buffalo Surfers.
uh-huh.
I don't know if that's a true story or not, but this guy told that story several times, so he thought it was.
Yeah.
Buffalo surfers
Hey,
in the
Oh,
water.
la Rasta. That song's actually made a tape
yes,
back in the day. But no, overall, I thought this whole tape has become one of my top 5. Like Dave said, it's just such a great listen, and it has such a variety to it that you really get into it, and top to bottom, I think it was one of our better efforts.
Might be hard to go back to some of the theme stuff we're doing because the free form is so good, but I like doing a little bit of both, doing
Oh yeah,
fixing it up and everything. But yeah, I think I don't know what it is. Maybe we're just uh, getting in the groove and knowing each other's styles and likes and dislikes and everything because it flowed real well. I agree. It's one of my faves.
yeah, me too. I should have mentioned early on. This is number 15 now, so we're just cranking these things out. And the other thing, just a shout out to Jose. He had suggested the idea of us each picking 5 songs because we do 15 on these, and whatever we each put them in whatever we want, and then just basically going in order 1, 2, 3, whatever songs we did, which I still think is a good idea. And maybe my next time around, if somebody doesn't get to it, I might do that. It's kind of similar to this, but it could make for chaos. It could make for some interesting, serendipity. Who knows? But
No,
well, 15. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was again. I went in skeptical after I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll do it. But then after we started going, we have that chemistry. I think it's kind of undeniable that we have that chemistry. That once it started, and I had made a playlist of 15 songs of like these are the songs, and if we go with my idea, I'm gonna throw 5 of these songs on there, and I don't care what you guys think. So and I thought, but then as y'all, as Dave said, Mike said, reiterated that once we get into it, it is amazing how we kind of play off each other and understand where we're coming from and what we might like to. And we do take chances. We all take chances with all these songs, at some point because we're introducing each other to new music that we've never heard, and to have that accomplishment and then to listen to it and thought, man, that's really good. That is really, I would never have heard this before if it wouldn't have been for you guys. And I think Mike and I have talked to this extensively about how we listen to music now because there's no exposure the way we used to listen to it. We used to listen to the radio, or if Dave brought something over or we went to Apple Records and bought something, we just, okay, now we're exposed to it and how much we kind of enjoyed that, or we discovered great new music. And it's a lot harder now. And so for us, I think this is kind of circumvents that for all of us is that, yeah, sure, we're not playing the new stuff. There's no doubt that we're not playing anything from 24. No one's buying Cowboy Carter. No one's running out to get the new Beyonce, but or Ariana Grande or any of those. But at the same time, this is music that has been part of it for the last year, and we just introduce each other to it. And I think, man, this is so great.
Well, we have, probably 40, I'd say 40 years, but it could be 40 years. And then we went back into the 60s as well, right? With a lot of our things we learned. So probably 50 years of music. And, you can make playlists and you can write them down and you can do all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, most of it is in here and in here. And we already know sort of. I mean, we're looking for some deep tracks sometimes. We're looking for a couple things that are maybe new or fresher or surprises or whatever, but we already have that. So as we're playing a playlist, even though you write down some songs, that's the beauty of it. Something pops into your head and you go, perfect place for an Eagles song, perfect place for whatever it is, whatever our, and we each have, I don't know how many, probably 300, 250 artists that we've listened to and thousands of songs. So sometimes it's okay to go off, not off script, but just, I got these songs I'd like to play, I'd like to make it on a playlist sometime. But when it starts, that's the beauty of it. We have an hour or so where we're listening to music like the old days. And we didn't go into those playlists going, I'm going to play this song, but I don't play this. We would just go into it and then go, oh, what albums do you have? Oh man, I'm going to play one off that one. And that's how we did it back in the day. So way cool.
Yep. Well, guys, this continues to be a pleasure. I enjoy it. I have no idea what, I guess, is it your next Dave? Is that right?
It is, but I'm not willing to unveil it on the playlist. We'll stop the recording and then we'll talk about it.
Don't give away any secrets, Dave.
It's going to be good. So just here's the teaser. Here's the teaser for you. You're going to like the next playlist.
Always creative, short, long. It challenges us, and that's the best part. As Dave was saying, we haven't even scratched the surface of music that we've listened to. I mean, how many Beatles songs have we not even played?
We haven't, or Rolling Stones, or
Rolling Stones, or the
Who, or yeah.
Right.
And we've done 15 playlists with 15 songs. That's only 300 songs that we've played. So there's a lot more out there coming your way.
Couldn't have summed it up better. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that and look forward to getting this out and getting the next one going soon. So.